Hello again. Okay, today I want to talk about well, I guess, I don't know if you would really call it a supplement, but it's something that you commonly see bodybuilders and fitness people consuming. And what I'm talking about comes under the general heading of protein bars or nutrition bars. And these nutrition bars can vary in quality anywhere from something that's little more than a candy bar, like Milky Way, to a genuine meal replacement. It depends on the ingredients, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for in well, let's call them protein bars just for simplicity's sake, rather than meal replacements. Although some of them are more protein bars than meal replacements. The difference being the meal replacement bar. If you look at the panel that lists the nutrient content, you'll see it has a pretty good assortment of not just protein, but vitamins and minerals. Some of them even have a little bit of fiber in there, which if you add it all together, and some of them even add some good fat in there. Not often fish oil, because that'll kind of change the taste of the bar. It won't make it taste good. And fish oil is very prone to rancidity. It's very difficult to incorporate in any kind of nutrition bar because it tends to go rancid pretty fast. So, but they have other sources of fat. Some of them have MCTs, which isn't too bad. When you work out, MCT stands for medium chain triglycerides. And those who are active or work out, medium chain triglycerides kind of are an alternate source of energy. They supply 7 calories per gram, and they're very rapidly burned up. They're burned up just about as fast as carbohydrates, and they're not likely to be stored as body fat if you're active. So MCT is a pretty good thing to find in these nutrition bars. I'll call them nutrition bars, which would encompass, again, protein bars and meal replacement bars. By the way, the meal replacement bars generally are a lot more expensive because of all the inclusion of all these added nutrients besides protein. They charge premium prices. If you buy them singly, it's not unusual to see them as much as $4 or $5 for just one bar. But again, these things can actually be used as a meal replacement. They do digest faster than a regular meal that contains food, protein, fats, carbohydrate. It digests faster, but I would still give it about an hour. In fact, as far as the optimal time to consume these nutrition bars, I would say 1 to 3 hours before exercise, because you want to give some time for the nutrients in the bar to digest. These bars have a little bit of fat, which slows down digestion. They have protein, which has to be converted into amino acids. Usually this takes maybe about 2 hours. We want to give it about 3 hours to make sure it clears your stomach. By the way, anything that's in your stomach, for example, at Gold's Gym, I very often see people, they have a little kind of eating area in the front of the gym. Very often I see people will buy a meal in the pro shop or bring their own in Tupperware. There's a little microwave there. They'll stick the meal in the microwave, then they'll sit down at one of the tables and eat the meal, and then they'll go immediately into the workout room and work out. And I was always curious about this, so I asked one guy, what's your rationale for eating right before you train? He says, well, I need the energy. The energy helps me train harder. And I said to him, you do realize that food has to undergo a digestion process, and this takes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours? He said, well, all I know is it makes me train harder. So I kind of stopped the conversation there and walked away, which is my usual policy. When I realize I'm talking to a moron, I try and end the conversation fast, because it's like slamming your head into a wall. But anyway, on another topic, getting back to what I was saying in this video, I got a little off track there. So you want to eat the nutrition bars 1 to 3 hours before training. After exercise, you want to get the protein as soon as possible, because the protein is needed for muscle protein synthesis. So in that case, probably 15 to 30 minutes. And this is one of the big features of these nutrition bars. They're very convenient. In fact, it's their greatest feature. You can take them anywhere. You can just put them in your gym bag and munch on it right after the workout. I've seen people actually chewing on nutrition bars during the workout, which again is a waste of time, because again, related to that meal thing I just mentioned, when you work out, your blood, there's a hierarchy. Your blood is diverted to the working muscles to clear out waste products and provide oxygen. to the working muscles. So anything that's in your stomach that you're eating during the workout or right before, it basically just sits there the entire workout. In some cases it can actually cause gastrointestinal problems and make you nauseous. So it's pointless to eat right before the workout or during the workout. Now you could consume fluids during the workout. Obviously, water is fine. Some of these, let's say, carb drinks, you can, as long as they're less than 8% carbohydrate. It won't give you any energy though, unless your workout is more than 2 hours. You have enough glycogen in your muscles where drinking a so-called energy drink during your workouts is not going to do a damn thing because your muscles already have all the energy they need. It's more of a psychological thing, but it really won't hurt you if it's a fluid form, as long as it's not more than 8% carbohydrate. If it's more than 8% carbohydrate, the drink will actually prevent fluid uptake, and on a hot day, it can actually, instead of helping you stay hydrated, it can actually promote dehydration. So again, be careful about added sugars and that stuff. A little bit of fructose, by the way, in any kind of workout drink is good, as long as it's not a lot, because fructose and glucose, or fructose and another, let's say, simple sugar, actually increases the uptake of carbohydrates. Normally, you use 1 gram of carbohydrate per minute when you exercise, but when you take the carbohydrate drink with a little bit of added fructose, because you're using two different glucose carriers. Glucose uses GLUT4, fructose uses GLUT5. Because of that, I know it's a little technical, but because of that, you can actually absorb more carbohydrates if you actually include a little bit of fructose in a carb drink. That's a little tip for you. But of course, I'm talking now about nutrition bars, so let's get back to it. Like I say, they can be used for, they're very convenient. You can take it with you. I keep a couple of bars around in case I'm in a hurry. There's a lot of times where I just don't have time even to mix a protein drink, which only takes a couple of minutes, but sometimes I just have to move. I don't have time. I'll actually grab a protein bar and I'll just eat it while I'm driving. These protein bars, most of them have, and this is an important point, the protein bar should contain, if you're involved in bodybuilding, at least 20 grams of protein. Each protein bar should contain at least 20 grams of protein. That's about the ideal amount to maximize protein synthesis. And in fact, when you eat a meal, you want to take in 0.4 grams per kilogram of body weight, which comes out to about anywhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein, depending on your body weight. So a protein bar that contains 20 grams of protein actually is giving you your full complement of protein. And the source of protein in most high-quality bars is usually whey. Although here comes another warning. You have to look at the ingredients on the protein or the nutrition bars, because some of them will tout their protein content. It'll say on the bar high protein, and then you look at the protein, the source of the protein. It's soy protein. Soy protein it's not a bad protein. It's not an awful protein. All the things you hear about soy on the internet about raising estrogen and causing thyroid problems and gyno and all this crap. This is all based on eating a lot of soy. I'm talking a ton of soy. Small amounts of soy are harmless, but the problem from a bodybuilding perspective is that soy protein is not as good as animal-based protein like milk protein, like whey, like casein. Soy protein tends to be taken out more by the internal organs rather than the muscles. So when you look at the ingredients on a protein bar, try and look for something, a higher quality protein like whey, casein, something like that. And if it's a soy-based protein, it's probably I wouldn't even bother. It's a waste of money if you're involved in bodybuilding. Don't bother with it. So the other ingredients you want to look for are, you want to try and stick with natural ingredients. Some of the bars contain like fruit. Some of them contain dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a good source of cocoa, which contains epicatechins, which are actually these epicatechins that are found in cocoa actually stimulate nitric oxide production. So they'll actually give you a better pump when you work out. So that the protein bars that contain dark chocolate actually will help you train harder. They'll help you with oxygen delivery to muscles, so you have less muscle fatigue. So that's what you want to. You want to, keep away from junk stuff in the bar. Like if you see something like hydrogenated vegetable oil, that's just a fancy term for what they call trans fats. This is the worst fat found in nutrition. It's garbage. It's basically a synthetic fat Trans fats involve a manipulation of natural fat by adding hydrogen ions. Unfortunately, this changes the fat to a very dangerous form that's linked to cancer uh, and cardiovascular disease. Any bar that has hydrogenated fats, do not consume them. Do not consume them. Also, you want to be wary of sometimes some of the nutrition bars, as a sweetener, they use what they call sugar alcohols. Uh, um, Let me see, what is it? Some of the sorbitol. I don't think you can find too much mannitol, but erythro something or other. I can't remember the name of it, but they end in OLs. If you see these elements that end in OLs, those are sugar alcohol, and I don't recommend them because if you eat a certain quantity, they're not really digested very well. Your enzymes can't really break them down. So if you let's say you have like 2 or 3 bars that contain sugar alcohols, within about a half hour you're going to be running to the bathroom with diarrhea. So sugar alcohol I don't recommend as an ingredient in bars. As I said, you want to look for keep away from stuff like cornstarch. That's just a cheap filler. Doesn't really do anything. It's some people wonder about artificial sweeteners. Look, the way the FDA decrees labels on food products is in order of content. In other words, the greatest ingredient, or the largest amount of any ingredient is listed first in the listing of ingredients on any food product, and it goes from greatest to least. Now, if you look at the nutrition bars, when they do contain artificial sweeteners, they're usually the very last ingredients on the bar. What this means is that it has trace amounts of artificial sweeteners, just enough to make it taste better. It's not a concern. What you want to be concerned about is the sugar alcohols, as I said, not artificial sweeteners. Some of the bars do contain sugar. They try and make it look good by writing stuff like natural cane sugar, and brown sugar, or they'll put in honey. Listen, a carbohydrate is a carbohydrate. The natural sugars will make you just as fat as the bad sugars. Some of them don't even. Some of them even include high fructose corn syrup. When there's a big concern about that, related to if you look on the internet, you have all these sites warning about high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is composed of the same sugars as table sugar. And what the science studies show, and I'll be talking about this in my Applied Metabolics newsletter, much more in depth about the effects of fructose. But in short, if you have small amounts of high fructose corn syrup, it's not going to hurt you. Fructose itself is a little bit better than high fructose corn syrup, simply because high fructose corn syrup is a processed sugar. And you always want to minimize processed sugars in your diet. They're very bad for you in many, many ways that go beyond the scope of this video, which I can't talk about. You want to look for something about, as far as calories, if it's just a regular, let's say, nutrition bar, not a meal replacement, they usually contain about 200 calories, which isn't that bad. The meal replacements, they are usually bigger bars, heavier bars, and they usually go up to 400 calories. But again, if you're using that as an entire meal replacement, that's still not too bad. And they can be used as a meal replacement. As far as the fat content, you want to look for maybe a maximum of 10 grams of fat. You don't want to have too much fat because, again, the higher the fat content, the longer it's going to take to digest. As far as sugar, you want to look for about 5 grams or less of sugar. 5 grams or less of sugar is not going to hurt you in any way. And as I said, you want to avoid corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and you want to avoid stuff like beet sugar. Now, you're probably wondering at this point, are there particular brands of nutrition bars or meal replacement bars that I would recommend? Unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about that, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to be really clear and honest with you. I'm not employed by any nutrition companies. I'm not connected in any way with any nutrition companies, including companies that make nutrition bars and meal replacement bars. As a consequence, I am not going to mention brand names because I'm not going to turn this video into an advertisement and make money for these people. And it's not just the fact that I'm not on the payroll. I'm not a shill. In other words, I'm not here to push somebody else's products. That's not what I do. I'll let others do that. I'm not going to do it. What I would suggest, however, is to experiment. If you want to try with these nutritional meal replacement bars, try a couple of brands. And remember, you always have to include the taste component. You will find that some of these nutrition bars taste better to you than others. And as long as they fit the requirements I outlined in this video, that's the one to go with. In other words, if you try a nutrition bar and it tastes disgusting to you, and believe me, I've tried some nutrition bars that I had to spit out. They were disgusting, horrible. I can't believe they were selling this stuff. Again, but it's an individual thing. Some people like certain tastes more than others. So experiment with different brands, different bars. Keep in mind the nutrition guidelines I talked about in this video, and then you'll find the one that works best for you. And look at nutrition bars as just a convenience. There's something that you can eat on the run, when you don't have time to eat a meal. If you want to use it to supplement meals, remember, like with 20 grams of protein, that's a full protein meal. So you can use it as a full protein meal. You can take it in place of protein drinks. And so I think that about sums up what you need to know about nutrition and meal replacement bars. If you want further information about nutrition, much more in depth than any video I can do, and also information on exercise science, anti-aging, fat loss techniques that work, ergogenic aids, hormonal therapy, exercise science, you must subscribe to my Applied Metabolics newsletter, www.appliedmetabolics.com. It's the best source of information on nutrition and exercise anywhere. Beats any blog, beats any magazine. Besides the current research, I'm also including my over 55 years of constant study and learning and research. I'm incorporating that into the newsletter. I'm gonna teach you things that I learned in all these years that'll help you avoid making some of the mistakes that I made years ago, and basically set you on the right path. I do answer brief questions from subscribers only. There's an email portal on the Applied Metabolics site, and that is strictly for subscribers. A lot of people that watch these videos contact me through that email portal, and they're not subscribers, and they're asking me questions. Very often these are complex questions, and I honestly don't have the time to answer it, but I will answer questions from subscribers because I appreciate the support of my newsletter through your subscription. So I will respond to subscribers. Unfortunately, I cannot subscribe to non-subscribers. So if you want to have the best friend you'll ever find, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. They are fantastic. They're great. I don't know what to say about them. They're unbelievable. I could not imagine life without a dog. Let me put it that way. Have a good day. Take care.